Hey guys, we just wanted to say happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody. We really enjoy all the support that you guys have been giving us, and we're super excited that we reached 2,000 subscribers.
Yes, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. I hope you guys are enjoying our videos and our journey. We have some really exciting stuff coming up. I know I keep saying that all the time, but in the background, we have started putting our siding up. You can see that a little bit. Don't tell anyone. Yeah. I hope you guys have a good and safe holiday season, and
thanks for watching.
thanks. Before we get started talking about our mini split system, we started off our Christmas day by burning this pile of scrap wood that we had. It was a nice calm day today, so we just decided to get all that out of the way. And then I also want to give you guys a little update on our propane setup that we have, because we had some shortcomings with that and we overcame those. So now, if you saw our video about moving into our house and what we had to do to get ready for that, I'll leave the link up here in the corner. You saw us put together this guy. What this guy does is it connects two propane tanks, and then when one empties, it automatically switches to the other tank. This kind of caused some issues for us. This regulator is only rated up to 125,000 BTUs, and our hot water heater by itself is 225,000 BTUs. So the first day our hot water heater worked great. We got hot water. The next day it still worked good, and then around halfway through the week it started to not heat up at all and not start at all. So what we found was a couple things. Reading the setup manual a little further, we found that there are dip switches on the motherboard of the hot water heater, and one of those dip switches you put up if you're above certain elevations, and we're at 7,000 feet here, so we're at one of the highest elevations we can be at. And that just adjusts the sensor for the air fuel mixture so that it knows how much air it's going to get and how much fuel it's going to get at this elevation. The other thing we found is that we just weren't getting enough fuel to the hot water heater, and I'll show you a little clip of the error we were getting. Now that error we were getting was saying that we didn't have enough fuel to it and check the fuel. So what we did is we scrapped this and we just got a regulator to go on our 20-pound or 5-gallon or whatever you want to call them propane tanks. And this regulator is good up to 225,000 BTUs. So we're right at that limit of where our hot water heater is. Putting this regulator on our propane tank instantly solved all of our hot water heater issues. So we're getting more than enough propane through this regulator to feed our hot water heater and our stove and oven. We have had this regulator hooked up to actually this propane tank for about a month. And we just had issues last night where we didn't have enough propane in this tank to run our hot water heater. So we switched our regulator over. But it was really nice to have this last a month, and it means that I am not really stressed out about getting this line put in across the driveway where we're going to have our main propane tank eventually and getting it inspected and all that. We can run for a little while off of these little propane tanks and have no issues. This is our disconnect for our mini split system. So we're going to end up hanging the mini split on the wall. So this is one of our brackets. It's got a screw into a stud. So we're gonna end up screwing it into this stud, I think. And then the next one will probably can either screw into there, which that's really close together, so I don't know, or over here. To secure it to the wall, we're gonna be using these structural screws. So the reason that we had to hang the mini split system on the wall was for a couple of reasons. The main reason was that our line set that we had wouldn't reach all the way from the upstairs bedroom all the way down to the ground level. So we couldn't put the mini split system on the ground without extending those line sets, and we didn't really have a way to do that. The second system was it will get it off the ground for snow, but that's not too big of a deal. It's on the north side of our house and we can always just brush the snow off. So it was mainly just that first reason. of making sure our line sets could actually reach the outside unit. After getting the exterior unit mounted onto the wall, I then hooked it up to our disconnect. It was pretty easy. It runs off of 240 volts, and it comes in with a hot A and a hot B, or line 1 and line 2, and then a ground, and that's all it needs. So there's no neutral in this system. After getting the exterior unit all wired up, I then hung the brackets for the interior units. The interior units on a mini split system are the air handlers. So instead of having the air handler in a closet and then running ducts to all the room, you just have the air handler actually mounted in the room. It was pretty easy to hang up. There's plenty of holes to put screws in, and then where I couldn't put it in 2 studs, I just put drywall anchors in. But the instructions want you to hang the unit approximately 6 feet off of the ground. I found that it wasn't really practical in our situation to do that, so they ended up more at 8 feet, which put them more out of the way. And you also have to have them 4 inches from a ceiling, so even though this one's pretty close to the ceiling, it has more than enough space above it for airflow. As you saw in our last clip, we started hanging the brackets for the indoor air handler in our mini split system. Now that part of it was pretty easy, and I was pretty confident that I'd be able to do the whole thing myself. However, after that, things got a lot harder. You see, when we started to actually hang the indoor units, we had to get that copper line set around corners and out and down the wall. And every time I tried to bend it, I would kink it because I didn't have a metal tube bender that was big enough. So we did something that we've only done one other time building this house. We hired a contractor. So the only other time we've hired a contractor was when we did our drywall, and then now it's doing this. But that turned out to be kind of a good thing. They got it done in about 4 hours, I would say, and it looks pretty good. The line sets run, nothing's kinked, and it works. We probably could have done it ourselves if we had taken the time to buy the copper tube bender, but the size of the copper tube that we needed to bend was so big, it cost like almost $200 for that one tool that we would have used once. So I think it just ended up being better and a little on the safer side for the warranty sake of this unit to hire the contractor, but we got them up and running now. This is the one in our upstairs. Upstairs is a 9,000 BTU unit, and downstairs is an 18,000 BTU unit. So this only has to actually heat about 300 square foot of space, or cool 300 square foot of space, and the downstairs unit has to heat and cool about 600 square feet of space. We're still kind of learning the nuances of these systems. It seems in our climate, where it gets down to the teens at night routinely, we're still having no problem heating, but the sweet spot for the unit is about 70 to 68 degrees. Once you get much past 70 degrees, it starts to just be running all the time. And it's not that it has problems heating up to that. I think it's because the variable speed of the compressor. Because with modern mini split systems and most modern AC units, they have variable speed compressors. What that means is when the compressor turns on, it doesn't automatically turn on to 100% using all of that power. It can vary its speed, and it can vary how much power output and how much heating or cooling output it has. So one of the downfalls that we kind of found with that is as the room starts to get up to temperature, say we set it at 70 degrees, and it gets to about 67 or 68 degrees. It still has that target of 70, but the compressor kind of lowers the power use of itself, so it doesn't heat as well. So it's not putting out that real hot air that it was when it was maybe at 65 degrees. So that kind of slows down how quickly the room gets up to temperature. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just something that we have to learn with this particular unit. The other thing that kind of helped us with hiring a contractor is our line sets originally couldn't make it all the way down to the ground. So we had this unit mounted up on the wall. Mounting this unit up on the wall kind of caused some issues. One, we couldn't have the amount of space behind the unit that we really needed. and 2, it sat way up here, which is between our 2 windows, and you could actually see the unit out of the kitchen and bedroom window. This line set that goes up to the 2nd floor was only long enough to make it up there, but they were able to extend it all the way down to the unit so the unit could be sitting on the ground, which is really good. It makes me feel a lot better. And actually up there you can kind of see where they brazed 2 pieces together. We do really like this unit. We are planning on getting a wood stove in the near future just to help heat the house. We don't always want to be relying on electric heating for us, just because where we live, if it even snows just a little bit, the power goes out. This does a really good job of heating this downstairs area, and the upstairs unit does a really good job of heating that area. We do have the option to expand to a 3rd air handler if we ever need to in the future. I do think it's possible to install one of these systems by yourself. I think just based on the type of line set we had, it just made it more challenging for us. To be able to bend that line set how we needed to, I would have had to buy a $200 tool that I only would have used once, which wasn't worth it for me. They do make some DIY systems, which this system was not, but I think those line sets are a little different. If you watch Life Uncontained's video, they put a system in, and their line sets looked a lot more flexible than mine did. And actually the line sets that connect to the back of the unit are almost corrugated, so they are really flexible and they won't kink, which is nice. So I think those DIY systems might have line sets like that, or you might be able to go out and find line sets like that if you're really set on doing it yourself. The unit's really nice. It just uses a remote control. It's gonna turn on. You can see what the temperature is. It's set to 70, and it's gonna start heating in a second. As you can see, there's this little louver thing. I don't even know what you would call it. You can adjust where that's pointing so that it can either be pointing straight out like it is now or down, or you can have it varying and blowing all around the room. If you guys have any questions for us about our system or want to know more information about it, leave a comment down below and I'll try to answer them the best I can. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Hi, baby. Do you want to get out of the way now? You have some eye boogies. Oh, okay.
Happy holidays from Poots, Pastures.